Friends, Namaskar and good evening. Welcome to this weekly briefing in the virtual format.
Has EM spoken with the Chinese Foreign Minister regarding the situation at LAC during his visit to Moscow? Please give us details.
Both India and China are in regular touch through diplomatic and military channels to resolve the situation, as you would know. And this was also the consensus when the two defense ministers met. EM will be meeting the Chinese Foreign Minister shortly, and where he will be discussing this issue. And once we have something on this, I will be updating you. As far as our position goes, you know that as we have reiterated several times in the past, Indian side is committed to resolving the current situation on the India-China border through peaceful negotiations. On the situation on the LAC, again, you would have seen my earlier statements which I have made regarding particularly the incident of September 7th, which was referred to in one of the questions. Ministry of Defence has already put out a press release clearly articulating our position and our response. I have nothing further to add to it at this stage.
Sandeep Dixit from Tribune has asked, did EM Jaishankar's talk with Sergei Lavrov touch on defreezing of Vladivostok-Chennai link and going ahead with initiatives in Far East? Will India be able to give the promised $1 billion in line of credit for Far East?
See, these questions largely pertain to EM's visit to Moscow, and I'll start by giving you a bit of a background. This is the third Council for Foreign Ministers meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which India is attending as a full member. And on the sidelines of this CFM meeting, EM has had bilateral meetings with foreign ministers of member countries. He met the Russian foreign minister on the afternoon of 9th, that is yesterday. And as you know, we have a special and privileged strategic partnership with Russia, and this year marks the 20 years of our strategic partnership. This was the first physical meeting after the COVID situation, and there was excellent discussion on bilateral matters, on regional developments and international issues of concern. The two ministers also followed up on outcomes of PM's visit to Vladivostok for the 5th Eastern Economic Forum in September 2019. In this meeting, bilateral economic issues and cooperation in the development of Far Eastern region of Russia was also discussed between the two ministers. And though specifics of projects were not discussed, there was a general agreement to follow up on these projects. We also discussed cooperation in nuclear and space sectors. The two ministers agreed to work closely in the UN Security Council during India's forthcoming tenure as the non-permanent member. And just to also mention to you that EM also had bilateral meetings earlier. He met the Kyrgyz Republic Foreign Minister and the Foreign Minister of Tajikistan yesterday. Both countries, as you would know, are our strategic partners, and during these meetings, ways to further enhance our strategic partnership was discussed. Today morning, EM had bilateral meetings with Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan before he joined the Council for Foreign Ministers meeting. And the Council for Foreign Ministers meeting, as I understand, reviewed preparations for the forthcoming summit, which is scheduled in the near future, and as well as exchanged views on regional and international issues. I do not have specifics of the discussions at this stage. This meeting was followed by a lunch of the RIC foreign ministers, and it started at about 2 p.m. local time. I believe it has just got over. So that is what it is as of now, and as we get further details, we'll keep on updating you.
Sandeep Dixit from the Tribune has asked, could you give us a sense of discussions with Iran during two unprecedented back-to-back ministerial visit to Tehran?
See, during the technical halt in Iran en route to Moscow, both EM and Raksha Mantri earlier had meetings with their counterparts. Iran, as you would know, is a country which is in our extended neighborhood. We share deep civilizational ties with this country. It is a historical relationship, and during these meetings, all issues of bilateral and regional significance, including connectivity, were discussed. particularly on the Chabahar project. Both sides noted that traffic via Chabahar is increasing and we are seeing increased cargo movement through this port. So that is what I have by way of the meeting in Iran.
Have the dates and location of India-US 2+2 and quadrilateral ministerial dialogues been finalized? Similar question from Sandip Dikshit from Tribune.
See, last week I had informed you that we look forward to holding this 2+2 ministerial meeting, and as of now we are working out details.
MEA has clarified that the Kerala government has not taken permission before signing MOU with Red Crescent for the Life Mission project. Has any further action been taken?
See, as I had informed earlier, the Kerala government did not take approval before signing this agreement with the Emirates Red Crescent Society. And you would know that foreign affairs, particularly entering into agreements with foreign countries, is a matter on the union list as per the constitution. So we are presently examining the matter from this perspective.
India-Japan held a virtual bilateral summit meeting today. Is it part of the annual summit mechanism we have? Can you give some more details about the topics discussed, like if the recent India-China border standoff was discussed?
See, earlier in the day, there was a telephone conversation between PM and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan. We put out a press release on this telephone conversation. What I can share with you additionally is that this was a very warm conversation between the two leaders. They recalled memories of their earlier meetings in Varanasi, in Sabarmati, in Kobe, Kyoto in Japan. They also recalled the visit of PM to the ancestral home of PM Abe in Yamanashi in 2018. In terms of other details, you would have already seen the press release that we have issued. And just to highlight a few elements, PM expressed gratitude to PM Abe for his personal leadership and commitment in enhancing the strategic partnership that we have with Japan, which covers several domains. The two leaders also discussed the status of ongoing cooperation under the special strategic and global partnership that we have, and particularly reviewed various projects, including the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed railway project. Regarding the question on the agreement, the India-Japan agreement on reciprocal provision of supplies and services between the armed forces of India and the self-defense forces of Japan, also known as the ACSA agreement. This agreement was signed yesterday between Defense Secretary and the Japanese ambassador, and this agreement is expected to further enhance our bilateral defense cooperation as well as peace and security in the Indo-Pacific region. So this is what I have by way of details.
नीरव मोदी मामले में ताजा स्थिति क्या है, खासकर वहां की अदालत में भारतीय जेल का मुद्दा उठाए जाने के संदर्भ में?
देखिए, नीरव मोदी मामले में जैसे कि आपको ज्ञात होगा, नीरव मोदी जुडिशियल कस्टडी में हैं जब से उनका अरेस्ट हुआ है मार्च 2019 में, और फिलहाल उनकी हियरिंग चल रही है उनके एक्सट्रेडिशन केस में। 7 तारीख को हियरिंग शुरू हुई और 11 को ख़त्म होगी, और प्रोसिक्यूशन ने अपना केस प्रेजेंट कर लिया है नीरव मोदी का अगेंस्ट। और इस केस में कई एलिमेंट्स हैं, क्रिमिनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी है, डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ एविडेंस है, क्रिमिनल इंटिमिडेशन है। ये फिलहाल अपडेट है मेरे पास।
Any update on extradition of Vijay Mallya?
Siddhant, there's really no further update on Vijay Mallya's case from what I told you the last time. His application for leave to appeal to the Supreme Court was rejected in May this year, and thereafter we have been in touch with the UK side to ensure his early extradition to India.
Has India responded to Pakistan on Shri Kulbhushan Jadhav?
On Kulbhushan Jadhav, we continue to be in touch with the government of Pakistan through diplomatic channels, and as I have said earlier, we have raised with Pakistan that certain basic issues need to be addressed by them, and these basic issues include his providing unconditional and unimpeded consular access to him, provision of basic documents, and appointment of an Indian lawyer to ensure a trial which is free and fair. So this is the situation as of now.
Is there any movement on fixing dates for FS meeting with Nepal FS on the boundary map issue?
On this issue, I have made our position clear in the past and I have nothing further to add.